Alright. Hey everybody. Wienerfied.com back at you. My dude Randall Actual made an interesting video yesterday or the day before. And I wanted to kind of piggyback off of it, really. First of all, I'm down here in the beautiful state of Florida right now, down in South Florida. And I am, I come down here a lot, man. I really love Florida. In fact, I'm actually thinking about moving down here. We'll see how it goes in the next year or two. And I come down here a lot, man. I really love it. Really anywhere kind of south of Tampa and Orlando, kind of the bottom half of Florida. I really love it down here a lot, actually. But so the other day, my dude Randall Actual was talking about how really the only governor in America who didn't fuck up her entire state when all this COVID bullshit happened was the governor from South Dakota. And I mean, man, she's a really pretty woman. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's a really pretty woman. And when all this Corona shit happened, she really was the only one in the entire country. See, here's the thing. Here's what most people don't realize. They don't realize that when all this stuff started happening, President Trump had regular meetings with all of the governors, and he did exactly what a president is supposed to do. If anybody understands federalism, President Trump did exactly what he was supposed to do by allowing the states to make up their own decisions on how they were going to handle this, what they were going to do, what kind of procedures they were going to take. And, literally, he had meetings with every governor out there from every state. And the only governor in the entire country that didn't lock down her state and didn't make mask mandates and all this other kind of bullshit was the governor from South Dakota. And in fact, there was actually business owners from like Montana and Wyoming, all the surrounding states, that when this happened, they actually picked up, because those states were locking everybody down, they actually picked up and moved to South Dakota. And that, they relocated their whole businesses there so that they didn't have to deal with any type of bullshit like this. And most people don't realize that every other governor out there, to include Republican governors, they all locked their states down. Now, I live in Georgia, and like I said, I come to Florida a lot. And, I'll be the first to admit that, right behind South Dakota, Georgia and Florida were probably the two next best states to live in during this whole Corona thing. But even these two states, in the beginning especially, they locked down their entire damn states, and thousands and thousands of businesses got destroyed. In fact, my very first episode, if y'all remember, I was talking specifically about this. My very first episode was really the contributing factor that made me want to do it was having to deal with businesses in Georgia that wanted me to wear a mask right after my dad died, right? And so people tend to forget that when all this crap happened, everybody gives like Governor DeSantis here from Florida, they all give him so much credit. But man, when this shit first started, I mean, he locked this whole fucking state down. There was nobody on the beaches. Think about this. You couldn't even go to the fucking beach. And it was just crazy, man. Like last year we came down here, like we always do for my daughter's birthday, and we went to SeaWorld. And SeaWorld, it was just ridiculous, man. I mean, it was absolutely fucking asinine. And Governor DeSantis was specifically, all this stuff came from him. The same thing in Georgia, right? Brian Kemp, I mean, he especially in the beginning, he locked down the entire fucking state of Georgia. And there was thousands upon thousands of businesses that went out of business because of that decision. So in other words, the only governor out of the entire country that really stood up and didn't fuck her entire state up was the governor from South Dakota. And I want people to start thinking about this, man, because I'll tell you, when it comes to tyranny, I'm not really seeing the difference between red and blue governors, right? Between Republican and Democrat governors. In fact, just the opposite. I'm actually typically seeing the Republican side go just as hard, if not harder, into restricting freedoms and stuff like this. And I'll give everybody an example, like Texas, right? I mean, everyone thinks that Texas is some kind of, Republican safe house, and it's not, man. Texas is a purple state. Florida's a purple state. Georgia's a purple state. Um, Texas has some fucking stupid ass laws. For it supposedly being conservative, they sure do restrict a whole lot of freedoms in Texas. Unless you speak Spanish there, then it's fucking open game. And that's not a joke, man. I mean, Texas, Arizona, I mean, all these so-called red states, man, there's nothing fucking red about them unless you damn speak Spanish. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. My dude, Randall Actual, was 100% correct. Now, don't get me wrong, man. There's a lot of things that I didn't like about Trump. There's a lot of things. I didn't like how he damn near doubled our deficit. I didn't like how he pushes so hard for these vaccines. I definitely didn't like how he's the one who started pushing out all these stimulus checks. He's really the one who created this crap. But here again, Trump was never a conservative guy. Trump is a populist. He's not a conservative. And so we knew what we were getting with him, right? We knew. And I'll say, for all the bad things he did just as many good things. But I never expected him to be the savior. I voted for him, and I would vote for him again, but I never expected him to be the savior because I understand his political point of view. He's not a conservative. He's a populist. But here's the thing, man. I think that all you people out there who think that these red states and these red state governors are just some kind of saviors. I mean, I really think you need to start looking at some of this stuff and understanding that most of these guys, they're not conservative at all. Okay, Brian Kemp especially, man. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That dude is probably going to get Stacey Abrams elected on this next election because he's a fucking retard. He really is. He's not pro-business. He's not damn pro-conservative. I mean, he is about control. I mean, I'll give you a good example. All these states that are turning out to these hands-free laws, right? California did it, and sure enough, Georgia was quick to follow. Okay, that's not something that conservative leaders do. Conservative leaders believe in freedom. They don't believe in control. And it's really amazing how so many people continue to get duped by these governors who don't have a conservative ounce of blood in their body. Now, in Florida's situation, Ron DeSantis, I mean, he's doing some awesome things. He really is. But here again, he's a populist. He's not a conservative. He's a lot like Trump, where he kind of goes with the flow, right? Everyone's giving him credit for the way that he ran the state. He had this entire fucking state shut down for like the first 6 months of coronavirus. I guess people have forgotten about that shit. All the businesses that have gone out of business here in Florida, it wasn't Trump's fault. It was Ron DeSantis' fault. And it's not Biden's fault either. Okay, it's fucking Ron DeSantis' fault. He's the one making the decisions for his state. He's the one who decided to cave into popular demand during the whole Corona thing. And at the end of the day, I mean, he's the one who should be held responsible for it. Nobody else should be held responsible for it except him. Okay, the president can't tell a state what to do. It's called federalism. It's what we had the fucking Civil War over, right? I mean, obviously there's certain federal regulations that states have to follow, but at the end of the day, the states make up their own damn mind. And I'm telling you, man, all these red states out there that have chosen to play this game, every single one of those governors should be held accountable for every single thing that they're doing. And then obviously, we got all these fucking pretend ass Republicans in Congress too, but that's a completely different story. My point here today is that at a state level, these governors that everyone thinks are just so fucking high and mighty, man, they're not. They are just as much a part of the problem as anybody else out there. So, this is just important stuff to kind of take into consideration. I love Florida. I really do, man. I love the beaches down here. I love they really do have a lot of good laws. Laws like no helmets on motorcycle laws. That's kind of the kind of freedom stuff that I look at. I wish that Florida would go a little bit further and get rid of things like general contractors licensing. I wish that they would go a little further and, have more options for homeschooling and stuff like this. Um, you know, I wish Ron DeSantis would fight a little bit harder to get rid of some of the unions down here. I believe Florida is still a right to work state, but man, it's been, there's just a lot of fucking unions down here. And, I wish that he would work a little bit harder towards that kind of stuff. I wish that Ron DeSantis would work a little bit harder, doing things, like entrepreneurial initiatives and stuff like that, have a little bit more resources for that. But I'll tell you, Florida is a good state. All this hyperbole that he keeps talking about shipping these illegal immigrants out that Biden keeps sending in, we all know that that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen in Georgia either. Brian Kemp can't even fucking, man, I don't know. That dude is just retarded. He really is. He's just a garbage ass governor. But anyway, this is just the kind of stuff that I want people to start thinking about. Elections matter. At the end of the day, we got to start remembering that elections matter. And if we can't elect the right people, then we might as well just give it all up. If nobody's going to be willing to actually fight, and if nobody's going to be willing to settle it the legal way through voting, then we might as well just give it all up. I'll tell you, we're going on to damn near 2 years of this whole Corona thing, and it's never been about health and safety. I've made several other episodes about this. And the only reason I'm not, cussing and yelling is because I'm sitting in the hotel room and I don't want to get kicked out. But I'll tell you, people had better start pulling their heads out of their asses, man. This shit has gone on long enough. And, the longer you comply, the longer they're going to keep doing it to you. The only reason they've done it this long to begin with is because everyone's allowed it to happen. And that's straight up God's honest truth. It's swept around the entire world now. We're dealing with a virus that's existed for thousands of years. It has less than a 1% mortality ratio, and people are treating it like it's the fucking plague or something. I mean, this is how ridiculously dumb all of you sheep really are. And I'll say it, man. I've said it in other episodes, and I'll say it again. If you all don't get your heads out of your asses soon, man, there's not going to be an America left to give you any type of freedom whatsoever. This has been a giant experiment, and again, the only governor in this entire country who was brave enough to stand up against it just happened to be a female. She happened to be a woman governor, a lady governor from South Dakota. Oh man, if there was just more to do in South Dakota, if it wasn't just such a big old fucking blanket of shit, I would move there too. But man, it's too fucking cold there for me. The only thing good that I know of from South Dakota is basically Sturgis. Mount Rushmore's all right, I guess, but really, I've never been impressed with South Dakota. I won't be able to live there. There's just not enough industry there. But like I said, I mean, it's pretty sad when one of the least populated states in the country is the state that has the most balls. Okay, when you're looking at states like Florida. Florida is what, the third most populated state in America, I think. They've got the power, they've got the money, they've got the resources, and yet they're too fucking afraid to stand up to the rest of the country. And that's just bullshit, man. That is absolute bullshit. But here again, this is what we have to deal with. So I want everybody to think about it. Check out my dude. Randall Actual on YouTube. Check out Terrence Pops on YouTube. Man, I got a whole bunch of other people that I'm going to start rattling off here pretty soon too. But basically, just wanted to say hi real quick and let everybody know that it's time to start thinking. It's time to start thinking, man. Make freedom legal again, as the Hodge twins would say. All right, everybody. Man, it's 80 degrees down here today. We went to the beach. Man, this is life. This is life. I hope y'all can enjoy your lives too. Till next time.